Hi everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. This is Kathy and I am back again using the Sweetest birthday cone stamp set from Colorado Craft Company. And for this one I did a few things different than I did with the mint chip ice cream cone. If you've not yet seen that video, I'll have that linked at the end of this one. But for this particular card, I used cement gray hybrid ink from My Favorite Things to stamp the image onto a piece of Express-It cardstock. Normally I do use Nina 80-pound solar white, but I have a little bit of the Express-It cardstock left and I thought I might as well use it up because I do like that cardstock. So those are two things that I did different. I used a different ink color and I used a different cardstock. The next thing that I did different was I used different colors for the ice cream cone, the cone part of the ice cream cone. The colors that I use will pop up for you on the screen. I'll also have them listed below and of course over on my blog as well. And I do think that I like these colors a little bit better. They're a little bit more golden compared to the mint chip ice cream cone. Anyway, I basically did the same technique for coloring the cone in this video as I did in my previous video. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and play some music for you to enjoy while I finish up the cone part, and then I'll be back to go over the ice cream part because today we'll be doing Neapolitan. But before we get to the ice cream, we're going to color in the whipped cream and the cherry. And for the whipped cream on this card, I did use cool grays, which was different colors than I used on the previous card. And to be honest, I don't love it. It's okay, but I kind of wish I would have just stayed with the same colors. So for the whipped cream, I just kind of highlighted the shaded areas with C5, added in a little bit of C3, added a little bit C1, and then blended it out with my colorless blender. For the cherry, I used the same colors as I did previously with the same technique. I wanted to make sure that I had some really dark areas along where the cherry would be dipped into the whipped cream, and also have the shadow on the left-hand side there. So while I finish up the cherry, and the whipped cream, I'll go ahead and play a little bit more music for you, and then I'll be back to jump into the Neapolitan ice cream. For the actual ice cream, I did start with the chocolate ice cream because I personally love chocolate ice cream, and I also figured that that would probably be the easiest for me to color since I have a color combination that I do like to use for chocolate. So what I did was I kind of followed a lot of the lines that were already drawn in to the image, which the artist made it very easy to color this image because there are so many areas that are drawn in where natural shading or shadows would be. So I highlighted those with the darkest color, and then I went in with my midtone, and for that second color that I used, for the midtone that I used, I did kind of invent my own little squishy scoopy part, thereby extending one of the lines out. And then I just kind of keep working with the brown markers until I'm happy with it. And then I move on to the vanilla. And again, the colors will keep popping up on the screen for you. With the vanilla and the strawberry ice cream, I again followed the lines that were already drawn in for me, but also added a few of my own little lumpy areas where it would be kind of squishy and from the scoop being pushed into the cone. Just, I don't even know if that makes any sense. I hope it does. And I almost, for this card, didn't use the colored pencils to do my highlights. And while it was sitting on my desk next to my other ice cream cone card that I had done, I finally decided that yes, I do need to bring in the pencils. So be sure to stay tuned to the very end of the video because that is when I actually bring in the pencils to do all of my highlights. And on a side note, for the strawberry ice cream, I started out with really light colors and I wasn't getting quite enough depth or shading, so I do end up coming in with darker colors, and when I bring those colors in, they'll pop up on the screen as well. With that, I'm going to play a little bit more music for you to enjoy while I finish up this coloring, and then I'll be back to finish up the card. Once I was done with all of the coloring, I decided to blend some tumbled glass Distress Oxide ink in my background. So I covered up the image with the mask that I used in my previous video, which is one benefit of using actual masking paper. You can use it over and over again. I used a makeup brush to do the blending, and I can tell you that blending on the Express It cardstock was a lot of work. Because it's such a slick surface, it did take quite a few passes to get a really nice blend. I also noticed that when I spattered the water on it, the ink really didn't react like it normally would on different cardstock. And again, I think that has to do with the fact that I used the Express It cardstock for this card. After I was done with the ink blending, I added just one little highlight with the gel pen onto the cherry, and then put the panel into my stamp platform so I could stamp the sentiment. For the sentiment, I did use the VersaFine Onyx Black ink so it would be nice and crisp. And the panel with the ice cream cone, I did cut that down to be slightly smaller than my card front. And my card is a top folding A2 sized note card. And then since I did not get the water spots that I was hoping for, I decided just to add a whole bunch of little white dots all over the background. So I did that with my white gel pen. And here finally I come in with the colored pencils just to add a little bit more highlights to the ice cream. For the chocolate, I used a dark brown pencil, and I really didn't use a whole lot of that. I made sure to have the pencils nice and sharp, and I used a very, very light hand. I'm not doing any particular coloring motion. I'm literally just scribbling. Particularly with the white pencil, I'm kind of hitting the areas with that where there would be extra lumps where more light would hit that part of the ice cream scoop. And that's it. That finishes up my second ice cream cone card. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've not yet subscribed, I'd love it if you would. And don't forget to ring the bell so you're notified every time a new video is posted. Thanks again, and I'll be back soon.